Hello everyone, today I'm doing my wrap-up for the summer. So the months I'm covering is May through August, and yeah, I finished 5 books in that period, which isn't a lot. As I mentioned in my channel update, I was quite busy over the summer with exams and also with some other stuff, and yeah, I just didn't get to read a lot and film a lot. 5 books for today, and yeah, let's get right into it. The first book I finished in that time, which was actually already in June, is A Feast for Crows by George R.R. Martin. This is the 4th book in the Song of Ice and Fire, which obviously, like, if you've been following this channel a bit, you know I really enjoy this series. This is currently my favorite fantasy series. I haven't read a lot of other series, but yeah, I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed the show up to the last season, but yeah, I'm enjoying the books way more, especially now that in book 4, where the story is completely different. I think from this story, basically nothing was adapted in the show, which is kind of sad, but yeah, it makes the books a lot more enjoyable now, because I really, despite the fact that I know a bit about the differences between the show and the books, I can still enjoy new aspects of the story and new characters that just didn't appear in the show. Personally, I really enjoyed this book. I do think this is the weakest entry into the series until now, but I don't think it is that much worse than any of the first 3 books. Like, I think this gets pretty close to book 2 for me. Yeah, I heard a lot of people say that this is like the weakest book, and they actually think that books 4 and 5 of the series are, yeah, there is a significant gap between the later books and the first 3 books. And personally, I just didn't see that. And that might be related because I was aware of the issues this book has. Like, this book does have some issues with structure and plot, especially in terms of pacing. The pacing in this is a lot slower than in, yeah, especially the 3rd book, A Storm of Swords, which is just a very like roller coaster type of a book where you get the endings to a lot of storylines that were set up over the other 2 books. And this book really gives you the fallout after the big like endings of the storylines in book 3. Yeah, you really get this book that really shows you all the effects that all the events in the first 3 books have on, yeah, on this place, on the whole world. And yeah, we really take our time in this one. We really get to see like what effects all the events that we witnessed in the first 3 books have on the characters, on the world, on, yeah, a lot of like different parties in this world, and a lot of not even just like the main characters we focused on, but also some side characters that get introduced and probably will be main characters in the future, and also about the surroundings, about the small folk in this world, about, yeah, the religious section of this world. Yeah, we get a lot of like fallout from those books, and that just makes this book a bit slower. But I personally really think this does a lot of things that I really enjoyed. Like, there are so many passages that I feel like are incredibly strong, and I feel like the more I think about this book, the more I find that I feel like was done really well. It is just that while you're reading it, you feel like it's a bit too slow. Personally, I knew that, and I also knew about the POV split. So if you don't know, this book and the 5th book cover different POVs. So basically, when George R.R. Martin was writing the 4th book, the book got way too big, so he split the POV characters. So we get half the characters in this book and the other half in the next book. Yeah, and I knew that, so it didn't bother me. But I can see if you were reading this series when this book came out and you weren't aware of the fact that the POVs were split, that you would be annoyed at this book. And yeah, the pacing also is way different from the 3rd book, which is regarded as the best book in the series. So I get why people, yeah, don't prefer this book over the others, but I personally just don't think it's that much worse. I would say it's different. It shows us a different aspect of this story, but I do feel that it has a lot of strong points in terms of character growth, in terms of showing us the world after everything that happened in the first 3 books, and especially in terms of the themes of this story. I think this really shows a lot of the themes Martin wanted to hit on with the series. Yeah, I don't want to go into spoilers here, but I will be doing a review for this and also the other A Song of Ice and Fire books, actually. I still have to review book 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, and I'm planning to do that soon, so I will go into more depth in that. But yeah, just know, I really enjoyed this book. I do think it's a bit lower than the other 3 just because of the pacing and structure, but I do still think this is a great book. I don't think it's a huge step down from the other books in the series, but yeah, I can see why people would think so. The next book I finished is Red Rising, which I read on ebook, so I don't have a physical copy here. Yeah, and I did a review for Red Rising, so I will link that in the info cards above, so you can check that out. As a short overview, I really enjoyed the book. I thought it was done quite well. I do think that it got a bit slow and yeah, wasn't really extraordinary in the middle part, but I think it had a really great beginning and a really good ending. So yeah, I'm looking forward to going into the next book, which is Golden Sun. Yeah, I think it's really good if you're interested in a sci-fi story that doesn't focus too much on the science part, but is really just trying to tell a cool story. Yeah, but I have heard that a lot of people don't enjoy book 1 as much, but I have heard that books 2 and 3 really get better, so I already went in knowing that I would read at least through book 2. Personally, I enjoyed book 1 enough to continue with book 2 regardless, but I've heard it's such a great book that I want to read it very soon. I don't know when exactly I will get to it. I'm planning to continue this series for sure. In my opinion, this does a great work with character growth, and also the setting of this world is amazing, and I feel like there's a lot of potential to really explore a lot of things in this story. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to Golden Sun. The next book I finished is A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms by George R.R. Martin. Again, this is a bind-up of 3 prequel novellas to A Song of Ice and Fire. This is set roughly 100 years before the first book in The Song of Ice and Fire. The series these novellas are part of are called The Tales of Dunk and Egg. And yeah, we follow basically these 2 characters, Dunk and Egg, through some adventures through Westeros. And yeah, I don't want to reveal too much, because if you know a little bit about A Song of Ice and Fire in general, I think you may know who these characters are, but I don't want to give away who they are even, because I feel like not knowing who they are kind of, yeah, it can increase your enjoyment of the first story in here. But yeah, just know that I personally really enjoyed the stories in this. I especially enjoyed the first and the third story, and the second one was also good, not great, but the first and the third one I really enjoyed, and I really like seeing this world in a different time. And this really almost feels like a very different setting, despite the fact that we're in the same world as in The Song of Ice and Fire, but 100 years before that series, it was a completely different world. And yeah, it's just an interesting idea to explore this world. And yeah, so if you like A Song of Ice and Fire, I would highly recommend you read this too. And also, I think this is quite different actually from A Song of Ice and Fire. It isn't as dark as the main series. I still wouldn't say it's like too bland or anything. I think it's really good. I think the characters are really well done. I think exploring different areas of Westeros in each of these stories is also really well done. And yeah, I will do a review on this one as well. I don't know if I will review each of these novellas separately or if I will just do one review. But yeah, I'm planning to review this as well because I want to talk about this, and I'm also really interested to see if George R.R. Martin ever gets to publish more in this series. I really want to see where it leads, because basically the pitch for this story really is that we follow Dunk and Egg throughout their lives, and basically the last story is something that is quite an important event that is already a mystery in the main series. So it would be a neat way to kind of connect the 2 series, but obviously we don't know when or if ever this will be published. But yeah, I think it's a good read regardless. I don't think you need to know a lot between each of the stories. It's not like the story ends on the cliffhanger that you're trying to find out what is going to happen in the next one. So yeah, I think it's fine to read, and I'm interested enough in these characters to see more stories in their lives. But yeah, we'll see if that will ever happen. From me, this is also highly recommended. The next book I finished was Stormfront by Jim Butcher, which is the first book in the Dresden Files series, which is obviously an urban fantasy series that is quite well known. I personally really enjoyed that book as well. I did a review for it also last week. I'll link that one too in the info card, so you can check that out. Stormfront was really cool. It was a really fun book. I think it was a nice introduction to the story. I don't think it was extraordinary in any regard, but I do think that it was fun throughout. Like, I did not have any major issues, I think, with the book. I do think it was a bit predictable maybe, but I personally don't think that's a big deal. And I hear that this series gets better as you go on. Like, the first 2 books are supposed to be the worst, So I already enjoyed book 1, and if that's part of the like bad or the worst part of this series, I'm really looking forward to continuing. So I'm already halfway through book 2, which is Full Moon. Yeah, I'm planning to finish that one up quite soon as well, and I will review that too. So yeah, Dresden Files, for me personally, it was a good start. I didn't mind anything in it, to be honest. It's a fun story that you can read quite quickly. I listened to the audiobook that's narrated by James Marsters, and I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I think the narration is really good. So if you like listening to audiobooks, I would recommend listening to the audiobook as well. So that's all I want to say about that. If you want to know more about my feelings, just check out the review. The last book I finished in summer was Binti by Nnedi Okorafor. I hope I said that right. Yeah, that is a sci-fi novella that I don't want to reveal too much of the plot about because it's really short. It's like around 100 pages, and yeah, it's a really quick read, and I personally enjoyed it. I think it set up some interesting things that could happen in the future novellas. So right now this is a trilogy of novellas. I'm not sure if the author plans to write more, but I personally really enjoyed the story we covered here, and I think there is a lot of potential for the next 2 novellas as well. So I'm going to read those as well, and I think I can read those in between the bigger books I'm planning to read. So yeah, that's also something I'm planning to cover, and I think for that one I will probably just do a review at the end when I'm done with the series, because I don't think there is enough to talk about for each book. But yeah, I will see. I may still do a review for each. You can also let me know if you would like to see a review for each individually for this one, but also for the Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I'm not sure if I should review these novellas separately or if I should just put them all in one. But yeah, I will see. Yeah, I personally think it was really good. I think if you're interested in a sci-fi story that's based on character and a bit of space travel, and also about interaction between different races, between aliens, humans, and yeah, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, I think this is really something that you could check out, that I think was interesting. It is also based on African culture, so yeah, I personally really enjoyed that. I think there's quite some potential going forward in the series. So yeah, I'm again looking forward to reading this one as well. All right, that is all for my summer reading wrap up. Let me know what kind of books you read during summer in the comments down below. If you want to chat with me about any of these books, you can find me in the comments down below, or also in the Discord server that will be linked in the description, so you can check that out as well. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, consider liking the video and subscribing to my channel. Yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.